Sweet. Hi, everyone. Oh, it's good to see you lot. Hi, Anna. Haven't seen you for a while. Cool. So I want to celebrate something really quickly before we move on. So last year, not last year, like 2 months ago, I was in, where was I? I was in Kyoto, and we did ACI one for a very small group of people, maybe about 10 people. And our main Taiwan organizer, is Janet here? I don't see. Let's see here. Our main Taiwan organizer, Angel Chu, and translator Janet Chen, they they took the course back to Taiwan and started. They've set up a kind of a reading group or a study group where they then watch the courses together. So they rewatched what we taught, in Kyoto live, and then basically they're studying together, and it's really cool to see this new group. Here they are. Here's a group picture of them. Oops, hold on. There's a group picture of all the Taiwanese studying together. So it's really cool. Oh, look at the balloons. I don't know why I did that, but sure. And it's really neat to see them. Somebody in the picture is doing this. And that was great. It was really cool to see them come together, and then they're studying the course and they're getting ready because a lot of them are going to come in June when we're teaching ACI 2 live in Kyoto. So it's really neat to see how different people study together. Right. So if they're not able to, oh, you guys are going to see someone really cool. Hold on a second. Just 1 second. You guys are going to see someone really neat. Well, when they come in. So I just wanted to celebrate it because it's really neat to see people wanting to study, and finding creative ways. Oh, they couldn't make it to Kyoto? Great. So they brought Kyoto back with them and they formed a study group there. And then they're debating and studying together, which is really, really cool to see. So if you have ideas like that, just do them. Okay. Just do them. All right. So let's get started. I want to do a little bit of a review from last class. Hi, Maria. And where is it? There it is. Okay. So we're going to go back to the last line from the previous class so we can then get moving again. So here we go. Let's see here. You all can see that, I'm assuming. And let's start with Christine. Christine, welcome back from Diamond Mountain.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming. Anyway, it was so neat to see people that I only met in these classes at Diamond Mountain. So that was really
amazing.
So if you want to run a sales pitch to bring people here or to any other live program, let me know.
Okay.
All right. So we're
Everybody just go. It was amazing.
Wonderful. So here we go. Let's read this line.
Okay. Yusarmi charbame
Salwar.
chawarme sar chabani pename par jela ma lam rim me
Yeah.
lam rim chen mo ji chi na
Shine.
Schiene,
Huh?
hier, das hatten wir eben schon, Bar,
Good, good, good.
Chik, Chadu, Drungpataryin.
Nice. Yay. Thanks for
Yay.
doing something and putting yourself out there. All right. I like this sentence, and that's why I want to do it again. And the context we're in is we're talking about people who are looking, let's put it in real words, they're modern situations. People are looking to learn to meditate. They want to meditate. They want to have, they want to make their lives better, just punto, period. They just want to make their lives better. And by having that desire, they're going out and looking for solutions. They're looking for ways to meditate. They're looking for different solutions. And I have a cool meditator I want to show you. Because here we go. Here is Peter Myrtle.
Hi guys. Who is that? Oh, wow. Who's
Yeah.
that?
This is a LAM RIM class.
Nice.
So here's all the folks here. So Peter just did a retreat, like a week and a half,
Yeah.
and they just
It's like a year.
and they just look at this. He hasn't shaved.
I have long hair now, naturally.
Cool. Thank you, Peter. I'll see you in Sedona. Okay. So the idea is you are looking for answers, right? You're looking for how to do this. And then you just start reading everything you can find on the internet, every book you can find. And so how do you determine what is a good meditation teaching and what's a bad meditation teaching? And of course, in a very sectarian way, I'm going to say that we have the best system. Okay. But you have to evaluate that yourself. I'm going to tell you that I think it's the best, and I'm going to tell you that I've tried many systems. I've gone through a lot of different trainings. I've seen what is done for all the different types of meditation, what it does for people. And I think that a lot of them are helpful. They're not bad, right? They're not worthy of criticism. And yeah, there's some that are in general. Okay, I've tried some really bad meditations. But in general, like they're not bad. But are they able to take you to deeper places? Are they able to take you into realizations? So that's the question you have to ask yourself. Where's the limit? And so, like, for example, I was part of another Buddhist tradition before joining this one. And it was plenty of meditation. We meditated all the time. We, blah, 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 blah. And I found a lot of value in it. But I got to a point in this tradition where I was like, what's next? What's next? And as a mindfulness tradition, it was really good to get to know my mind and to know my emotions and to know the things that were going on. But it didn't give me, I don't know, it didn't have the secret sauce, maybe. It didn't have that special ingredient. And so not criticizing, because if I criticize it, then I would deny the fact that it brought me to where I am today. Good morning. So where it would bring me today. So I'm not criticizing that tradition because it was part of my path and it got me to a certain place. Now I'm going further, right? And I started asking different questions. So one could easily say, look, by the way, there's a bunch of people online. Hi. Diamond Mountain volunteers and staff. Um, they, so in that way, you could say, oh, well, it wasn't enough. So then it's not a good path. And then the people that are still practicing it, you could criticize them, but that's not the point, right? If it's helping people, it's not a bad thing. It just may not be the full thing for you, you see? And so for me, it wasn't this, it didn't have the secret sauce. Mainly, it didn't have karma and emptiness, I would say. So this is where Pabonka Rinpoche is kind of complaining a little bit, or he's being pretty strict, actually. He's basically saying, in that line we just read, he's basically saying, sure, go study everything. But basically what he's saying is, don't look for answers where they're not. He's basically saying people look for answers where they're not, and don't look for answers where they are. I'll say it again. What he's saying is people look for answers where they're not, meaning they're not looking for something that has an authentic lineage that can show you a path, and it can't show you a way to continue to grow. And then, so people don't look there. And then when people look where they're not, and then they're not looking where they should be, is what he's saying. So what he's saying is look for something that, who are the people in the lineage? And I'm like, forget the stupid words, lineage. Sorry, Ula, I'm going too fast. Look for the students. Look around. Are they happy? Or are they fighting with each other? Any Dharma group will have people fighting with each other. Okay. You will have arguments. But are you seeing people get better bit by bit? Are they improving themselves? Look at the teachers. Are the teachers good people? Do you want to learn to meditate from somebody who's like, shaking? Like there's the example of if I'm shaking and so nervous to teach right now, yes, some people, one of our teachers has Parkinson's and he does shake. He's not shaking because he's nervous. He's shaking because he has Parkinson's. But he's an incredibly deep meditator and he's very calm. I'm so, for someone whose body is constantly shaking, I would be a mess. Personally, I would be upset. He's calm, he's focused. It's almost like he's like, oh, that's just my body. What I'm talking about here is like someone who's meditating, like everybody, let's meditate. And the person is clearly full of anxiety. Like obviously something they're doing, their meditation is not working. So what Pabonka Rinpoche is saying is, you do the evaluation. Who are the students? Who are the teachers? What are they teaching? How are they teaching? What are the results that you can see? And if you don't like the results, go away. Not the place for you. And so in a sectarian way, this is what we're saying is meditation is probably the best. But I'm not going to tell you that. I want you to figure it out yourself. And if it doesn't work for you, go find it somewhere else. I won't be upset. I want you to be happy. I don't want you to suffer through something that doesn't work for you. You see. Okay. That's what he's saying in that line. I know I harped on it last week, but I want to say it again. All right, let's go to the next line here. Who would like to read? How about Marina? So you can see what's going on.
Tena sunk chenpo dita vurma tenpar lama kan chung chunkre Sunktan men gak in servala yiton temice ri puktu kyeljang chankva tamola gomtu tru.
Nice. Good job, Marina. Where's, I gotta find out my line here. I gotta find out where I am. Okay, here we are. Okay. So let's go through this. So if you fail to take yourself to the great collection of scriptures on meditation, the great meditation classics, all right? And then you listen to the private advices, the Mennaks, Sung, the high honorific for teaching, the words that come out of a high teacher's mouth. If you go to whatever teacher, Lama Kung, okay, you go to any old teacher and you listen to their words, okay? We can translate them as supposed spiritual advices. If you go to those and then rely upon those teachings versus the teachings from the great meditators of the past that showed you the entire path, for example, there's a big danger in doing so. So you could spend your whole life, mise, up in a mountain, okay, like a mountain cave. And you could just waste your entire time. So you can waste all of your meditation time. If you have the wrong teachings and you say, all right, I'm going to go up to a cave and learn all this, you could waste your entire life doing that. And then he gives us a weird advice. Meditating on subtle dullness. Mistaking meditation for dullness in your mind. So this is a really weird thing. We haven't heard anything about this yet. And he's basically saying, if you've mistaken meditation from a teacher who doesn't know what they're talking about, then you could be learning wrong meditation and getting stuck in the most dangerous meditation there is, which is subtle dullness. So let's take a pause, and I'm going to talk about this. So we're going to learn a little bit later what those things are, like what the different states of mind that happen in meditation. But subtle dullness is by far the most dangerous. It's a place where your mind is not bright, it's not focused, but it kind of feels like it is. And so what ends up happening is that you're kind of just slightly turned down. It's like a dimmer switch. So instead of having a bright, focused, intense meditation, intense meaning, how to say, bright, bushy-tailed is a good way of saying it. But that dimmer switch is just a little bit down. And you're just kind of chilling out there. And it's the most dangerous place at meditation because it feels good, but nothing is happening. And we'll learn a little bit later how to recognize that, but that's the most dangerous meditation that you can get into, because then you can't push yourself beyond it to actually have realizations, to actually see how your mind works, to actually see how karma and emptiness work. You'll just chill out there. And it was interesting at one point, I was talking to my teacher about my meditation. And I was telling him, I feel like I can't calm my mind down. I feel like I'm kind of in the story, like the images are stable, but they're changing. It's almost like I'm slowly moving through my emotions or the things that are happening, whatever it was. But I felt like I was jumping around and I couldn't stabilize it. And he said, that's not agitation, that's subtle dullness. And I was like, whoa, what? And of course he gets up and walks away. Like, that's how my teacher operates. He like drops the bomb, mic drop, and then walks out. And I got to figure out what the fuck he just said, excuse me. Right. And in a way, I was confusing mental agitation, movement of mind, with dullness. I was actually having more like a dreamy, relaxed state. So what he was saying, two things. One, Tim, your meditation is getting good. Yay. But that was wonderful. But he also was saying you're misunderstanding where you are. And so you're going to get stuck there if you don't know how to change that. So the whole idea of the next 9 classes, okay, is going to be, how do we recognize where we are in our meditation? What are the problems? What are the solutions to them? But it's also developing the awareness skill to say, oh, I'm in agitation. Oh, I'm in dullness. So as your meditation gets better and better, you're able to say, that's where I am. And then there's things to do when you're at those stages that you wouldn't do at a different stage. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yeah.
It's like each stage has, it's like mathematics, right? Like you learn how to multiply and divide, and then you start doing algebra.
Sure.
Then you start doing calculus. The way to solve a calculus problem is not the way that you solve a multiplication problem. All of those things build onto each other. But if you try to do calculus when you're only doing multiplication, you're going to fail, right? So the idea is to recognize it. And like, for example, recognition. A friend of mine was talking to me one day about his meditation, and he was saying, Tim, I feel like I'm falling apart. And I said, oh, what's going on? And he said, my negative emotions are crazy right now. Like everything's so dark. I'm feeling terrible. Like I'm giving you the gist. We were talking about actual things, like, and it was really bothering my friend. And I said to him, I said, how's your meditation? And he said, my practice is going great. And I said, oh, tell me about it. And he told me about his meditation practice. And I said, oh, you realize you're actually at like, of the 9 stages, you're like stage 4 right now, like moving into stage 5. And he was like, what do you mean? And I said, look, it's not that your negative emotions are any worse. Your mind is just stabilizing. So now you can see them. Where you can actually watch the movements of your mind in a controlled way. So now he's feeling like, oh my God, everything's worse for me. And I'm saying, oh my God, no, you should celebrate. You should celebrate because now you're able to see things you never saw before about yourself. Now that's painful, right? That's painful. That's hard. That's difficult. Now you got to do the work. Then you have to look at your shadow. Then you have to look at the things you're doing and the subtle seeds you're planting to be able to knock that out and then process it. And that's why we need friends with each other in the Dharma, because now he was like, oh, my meditation's good. And I said, yeah. So then it wasn't so heavy for him anymore. And then we talked about it a lot, and then he did the normal things to solve those problems. Like not only just change the seeds, but he processed it. He realized certain things about his past that were very uncomfortable to see. He saw a psychologist. I'm not saying you're going to have to, but what I'm saying is the things that were coming up were very, very deep traumas. And so he then was able to see them and then navigate them and move through them. or accept, in a lot of ways, was accepting what happened and forgiving and moving on and say, okay, well, this is part of me, and then was able to move on, but only because of his meditation. So forget about spiritual realization. Okay, that's a cool thing. Spiritual realization is wonderful, and that's what we're trying to have. But just the day-to-day, being able to see the little inner mechanisms of your mind and your emotions, and then maybe some of the patterning and traumas that maybe you're not even aware of, that are continuing to plant seeds that you don't even know about. You see, then you become aware of it, and then you can find ways to keep that. If that's all we do, that's pretty effing amazing. Like, to be able to release some of these difficult patterns that we're not even aware of. Forget about spiritual realizations, or add them in. Okay. Maybe moving through them is spiritual. All right, next line. This is why I will never get this book done, because I won't shut up. Oops. That's my cheat sheet. You guys can't see that. You'll get to see that later. All right, next line. How about Veronica, you've been quiet. I don't know who you are. Sorry. You want to try to read? Yes, you can try. Just make noises.
Okay, I think I'll try. Semla mi pazina la san chegi lam du nru bache
Nice.
nubache
Mhm.
man ba in pago sache po sho bate
Sure, wa. In this case, it's a wa.
wa.
Sure, wa.
Okay, wa. Wate dedra la ji zam
Mhm.
jam
Some.
ba sam ba what is it?
Kyang.
Kyang mitse stonza du bepani la
I know it's hard. You're doing great. You're doing great. Chepa. Che.
chepa ni la chame.
Nice.
Oh
Congratulations.
my god.
It
Thank
wasn't.
you.
Good job. The
It was
first
my
time is
first time. Yes.
the first time is the hardest. The next times will be much easier. Okay. Where should we start here? Okay. There's a great many manhwa of people, practitioners, who mistook truba, right? They mistook they were mistaking these practices for the great secret, okay? Sangchen Gilam, like the book, The Secret. Okay, they mistook certain practices to be the great secret, right? And oftentimes, if teachers talk too much about secrets, this is the secret. Hold on just one second. Maria, I'm say bye-bye. So basically they have this idea, they mistook it for the great secret. And they mistook the idea of a practice that focuses only on the mind. Okay, this is a particular kind of practice, like shamatha on the mind itself. Okay, now that's a really interesting question. Okay, because don't we want to know what our mind is? You know, and what Paboka Rinpoche is showing us is that these are stages of meditation, not necessarily the secret. It's not necessarily the thing, right? Getting to a place of recognizing subtle dullness in your mind, that's a great place to be, but don't get stuck. Meditating on the mind and the mind itself is okay, but don't get stuck. So the idea is every time we get to a certain place, don't stop. That's why you need a teacher, and that's why you need to know what the entire path looks like. So when you start having good meditative experiences, you don't get attached to them and stay there. There are some really good meditation experiences where you just feel really good. And then you want to go back. Like, I want to recreate that. I want to do that again, you see. But it's not it, you know. So there's a lot of them that basically mistook a particular practice for the goal. That's the point. And then they put a lot of effort into it. They put a ton of effort into practices like this. And you could use up Mise, Tong, thousands of lives like this. All right. And then you're just going to get lost in the great mistake. Hold on, let me make sure I have this correct. This is why you need a dictionary, because sometimes you forget. That's right. Okay. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. You'll get lost in the great mistake. And the great mistake is putting efforts into things that won't take you to the final goals. Because if you get lost in it, then you'll just waste your life. And that's all he was saying. And he keeps complaining a little bit more. Here it goes. Here's some more complaints. Who wants to read a complaint? How about Persis?
Thank you. Bob, Bob
But
Berkey, Kanpa, Grandpa, Mark,
not grandpa, Drakpa.
Drapa, Meg Pell, La Som Sok, La No, Kyo, Yong, Wa,
Jungwa.
Jo Wa, Yok, La,
Good then.
Yot Ten Nam Ki, Rang Gi, So Lạc Sip,
Shungluk.
Sút Lục, Lá Sip, Thu. I always don't know the B.
It's you don't have to know this one. It's silent. Te.
Hey,
Excuse me. Te, yeah. Dana.
Thế Na She Wa Nụ.
Good. Nice, Persis.
Thank you, Tim La.
Okay. Tibet. Okay. Kpar Drakpa. Many Mangpo, many learned people in Tibet. Okay. Supposed masters in Tibet. Okay. If you have some kind of ability to see in detail, Shibla, right? And you look at the books of others, okay? If you look at the scriptures of other people in detail, you'll be able to see mistaken viewpoints, mistaken meditation practices, etc. in all of those. All right. If you're someone who has some kind of discernment, okay, this is the subject of the sentence. It's hard to find it. If you're this person, you'll be able to look at those books and say, all right, this is where they made some mistakes. How do you get that discernment? Well, you have to study a lot and you have to practice. So the main point here is take your time, evaluate all of these things. And if you don't, and again, if something doesn't resonate with you, check out why it doesn't resonate with you. I'm not trying to convince you that I'm right. I want you to convince yourself that you're right. And that's where this is going. All right, next line. Let's see. How about you're translating. Christian, are you translating or you just have your name wrong? Okay, just kidding. Okay, you're translating, fine. How about Emily Chen?
Thank you.
Yay.
Jackson Kyapa Chen Bokta Ong Choksum Gyangi Chala No Kyaka Ki Pang Rup Ta Dungnabki Sunla Tongne
Dukne.
Tunne
Mhm.
Papo Zepa.
Nice, Emily. I think, Emily, you're going to start being better than your husband at this. This is why you're coming to these classes, to like sneakily learn more. All right, so we just left a part where saying there are many people in Tibet. Nice. There's many people in Tibet, this is ages ago, supposed masters who were teaching incorrectly. Now, Pabonka Rinpoche is going to say, well, somebody was different. Who was different, Emily? Geshe Kappa Chenpo? Do we know who that is? This guy named Geshe Kappa, not Jason as in English. Jason, okay? I know you guys know this joke. When I first heard the name Geshe Kappa, like 15 years ago, I'm sitting in class and we're like, Geshe Kappa, the greatest person in our lineage. And I'm like, who the hell's Jason? Like, who's this Jason guy? Not recognizing that Jason is different words. Okay. So he's saying Geshe Kappa was different, right? So whichever of the three things you're talking about Geshe Kappa, whether his viewpoints, his meditation practice, or his general activities of life, whether you're talking about any of those things, right? This is a cool word. He paid witness to, he looked at carefully, right? Geshe Kappa looked carefully at the teachings of the Panditas and practitioners, the great ones of India, Gyakar, right? So he's basically saying, look, there's all these other people you could study, or you can go to study this guy. And no matter whether you look at his life, his meditation, his viewpoints, you can see that he was well learned. He studied a lot. He evaluated all of it, and he put it all into practice. And that's the main idea here. Learn it all, try it all, and then which ones are working for you. And if you can read Geshe Kappa, which is about 20,000 pages of writings, you kind of get a sense that maybe he knew what he was talking about. And this, and now we're going to get into some fun parts. Let's see, how much time do we have left? Oh, we got plenty of time. Chio wants to read? Oh, that's interesting. Chio offered to read. Hello, Chio. There she is. Yay.
Hello.
Here.
Masat,
Masay.
Mase, Jetsun, Jan Paul, Jan,
Young.
Jan.
Jampo Young.
Jan,
Who's that?
Pabon.
No, Jampo Young. Who's Jampo Young? Manjushri.
Oh,
Jetsun Jampo Young. Manjushri.
thank you.
Mhm.
Có,
No,
no,
no.
no, ký, tốt, sẽ, tháng, trả, nán tế, tháng lá, hả,
Pep. Peppa.
Peppa, sun ra, tra, true, pe, tri, ma, me, pa, ma, po, ko, nhãn,
Joke Nan.
nhốt nán, sa, se,
Go ahead.
cho, pe, tra, tre,
Wrong, right?
rang rem, de tre, men, ka,
Knock.
nát, latento.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, cool. Good job, Chio. Okay, Mase. Not only that, so not only did Jason Kappa become a learned sage, which all of us should become, right? What else happened? Let's see, what else happened? Sorry, I'm just reading it backwards and making sure my notes right. Okay, not only that, we have Manjushri. All right. Manjushri himself functioning, no. Manjushri came to Tsongkhapa in the flesh. All right. Enlightened being appeared to Tsongkhapa. All right. And he clarified all the questions that he had. He brought clarity to all of his doubts. So wouldn't that be cool if an enlightened being showed up next to you and clarified all of your doubts? Maybe your teacher, get it? Okay. But there's lots of stories about how he got there. And then he was able to set forth many teachings, Drima Mepa, without any kind of error. Without any kind of error, Trupe Drima Me. Great teachings set forth. Okay. He set forth many great teachings free of any error by asking his teacher. Okay, the point of this is he asked his teacher, do enlightened beings appear in the flesh? Maybe, maybe not, depending on your seeds. But the point is he asked for clarification. He found teachers. So let's take this out of the weird spiritual realm. Did Manjushri come to him or not? Okay. Like what I like to do with these classes is, sure, this is a magical story. And did it happen? I would like to believe it happened. You know, we all have belief systems and we have ideas of, you know, high spiritual beings who have come into the flesh. Jesus, for example, Moses, Muhammad, Buddha, you know, get it? Like there are these people that appear as high spiritual beings and teachers for us. So there's no difference here than elsewhere. But if that's too much for you, just say teacher. He relied upon a learned person who seemed like an accomplished meditator. Maybe Manjushri appeared, you see? And then he was able to write all this stuff down. Tsongkhapa was an incredible writer. All right. So then people like you and me, Rong Ray, this is Pamokha Rinpoche's way. But look, if you guys remember that Pamokha Rinpoche is also one of the highest teachers we've had in the 20th century. He's also the Vajrayogini master that we follow. All right. And then he's saying like, well, you know, people like you and me, you know, we're not Tsongkhapa, we're not Manjushri, people like you and me, we should follow those advices. We should rely upon those advices. All right. Should. Good. We should rely upon those advices of someone who appears to be a learned person. And so he's making a claim. He's saying this person, of all the people you can study, we should study this person. All right. And I love how he does this. Like, I love when lamas do this. Oh, just like you and me, we're all just normal people. These are the masters, and he was talking to this teaching was a public talk. I don't know how many people were there, several hundred, I think it was 800 people-ish, 24 days, no microphone. And he talked all day about Lam Rim to the common folk, right? Not the monastery. Anybody who wanted to come, he taught to, and he was highly criticized for it. He was giving, this teaching has everything you need to know from beginning to end, including Tantra. And he was highly criticized for it. And then he's like, people like you and me, I don't know very much. And, I'm just telling you what I know, right? And then when you really know who he is, like the greatest, I consider one of the greatest masters of the 20th century, right? He's just being humble. He's just being like, I know a little bit about something. But think about it, like, how do you connect with people? Like, a high bodhisattva, like, we were talking about in Shantideva's class, not today, the other day. Bodhisattvas don't show up as bodhisattvas. They're not going to wear a t-shirt that says, I'm a bodhisattva, worship me or learn from me because I know this shit. That's not what a bodhisattva is going to say. A bodhisattva is going to be like, people like you and me, or that he's not like you and me. But anyway, that's Pabonka Rinpoche for you. And that's why he's a great teacher. You see, because he doesn't tell you what he knows. I mean, he shows you what he knows, but he doesn't like pontificate. All right, Anastasia, here we go. Next line.
Sorry. Data bune masunsin mi tupe mangang chik nimpor dena namar grape topa shinkinyo.
All right. And he says even more clearly here. If you try to follow someone who has not done this, okay, if you try to follow someone who does not really know what they're talking about, and in fact might even be contradicting to that, you may end up having some weird realizations that no one has ever had before. All right. And what that's really saying is like, be careful who you study with. And can it help you or not? And it doesn't mean other systems can't help you. We actually have a vow in Vajrayana to not criticize other systems. Oh, so here's the greatest Vajrayagini practitioner of 20th century. Is he criticizing others and breaking his vows? I don't think so. I think what he's saying is take the time to learn and evaluate yourself. I don't think he's criticizing, but I think he's also warning us to pay attention. Don't waste, he's basically giving us a little bit of renunciation. Don't waste your time with something that's not going to help you and help others, really. Because there's a lot of meditation schools that I've studied that don't have a focus on other people, that don't have a focus on karma and emptiness. Sure, it'll help you short term, but what's the point of just helping yourself? I don't know. You guys can think about it. Roxana, are you translating? No, you're not, because I know that Nicolita is. So I'm going to have you read 61, please.
Tena sanak ki ketsok ne sunte tana tingenzin chung regompa yenla tencho kun mane sumpe shine drupe menak nepanga ongshin duce getempa ndime tabme.
Will you make a mistake so I can correct you sometime?
You're very kind.
Very kind through humor, I suppose. All right, cool, good job. If you're interested in learning more about Tibetan, and if you're interested in going to the monastery and learning, talk to Roxana. You know, you can see how much she learned just in the short amount of time that she was there. And it's a phenomenal experience if anybody wants to immerse themselves in a more traditional environment. All right. Let's see here. So what are we talking about? All right, there's a whole lot of different kinds of spiritual practices, all the way from these little tiny practices, like where you just have a little bit of meditative focus. For those of us who are beginners, like Rong Rei, like myself, just having a little tiny moment of good meditation, right? Up and through Kesok. What's Kesok? Kerim and Sokrim. Kerim, creation stage, Sokrim, completion stage. The two main stages of Vajrayana practice. So anything from these little tiny meditations up until Kerim and Sokrim of the secret way of the Sangnak. Okay. So everything from basically the very beginning all the way to these final stages where your Kerim is where you are creating the karma so that enlightened beings come to teach you and appear, like Manjushri, for example, or Vajrayogini, or Tara, or Yamantaka, in the form that you can read, that you can hear them. And then once they've actually arrived with you, then you go to completion stage practices where then they teach you how to basically teach you how to reach those final stages of, like when the Buddha was sitting under the Bodhi tree. All right. It's a little bit different in Vajrayana. By the way, there was no Buddha who didn't get enlightened without Vajrayana. So just saying. So basically all of those things, right? And by doing this all within a single lifetime. There's no way to be able to do that without following the instructions of the classical commentaries, right? The classical scriptures. And you can't do this unless you learn the 5 problems and the 8 solutions to those problems. Okay. And you're relying on all of those understandings. What are the 5 problems of meditation? And then the 8 things to fix them. The 8 antidotes. All right. Basically, this whole long thing was basically to say, here's the authentic lineage. 5 problems, 8 solutions to those 5 problems. Got it? Now we're going to learn what those are. And then you got to figure out, are those the only problems and solutions there are for meditation? You can work on it. Here's the first problem, laziness. Let's talk about it. Who would like to read? Let's look at, how about Svetlana?
Delan jepadang pole loi nien por tingensin gi junten tongwe depa tingensin la dunyer gi dunpa tingensin la sol we tsundru sol we drebu shin yang teshile.
Xinjiang or Xinjiang? I think it's Xinjiang. I was going to say, please make a mistake. It's Xinjiang. Hey, Sele. Nice job, Svetlana. I don't know where you learned how to do all that, but good job. All right. So the first problem, Dela. Now, the first problem, Nepa Tangpo. The first problem meditation is Lelo, which we translate as laziness, which is nice, except the better way of saying it is just not doing your meditation. Your cushion is sitting there, you look at it and you're like, hey, and then you just walk by it. You look at it's like, what you should do is, in some, like in a diamond business, for example, like you have to go through a security wall to get into your office. You should create a system that in order to leave your house, you have to sit on your meditation cushion. Don't step over it. Don't say ciao. Find a way to sit on it. Even if you just put your butt down on it and then get back up for 5 seconds, you sat on it, then you don't have this problem. What's the problem? What is the famous thing we say about this problem? No. If you don't solve this problem, you won't have the rest. Okay, you won't have the rest of the problems if you fail to meditate. If you don't meditate, you won't have the other things, so don't worry about it. So then don't waste your time in this class, get it? So anyhow, so what are the 4 antidotes? So this basically brings up the 4 antidotes and then we'll stop today. What are the 4 different things? Depa. What does depa mean?
Faith.
Faith, right? You have faith in the benefits of meditation. Meaning you have faith in the practice, and mainly this means you've understood the benefits of meditation. What will it do for you in the short term and the long term? And we're going to learn what those benefits are. Second one, Dunpa. Does anyone know what that means? It means like an aspiration. An aspiration that we really want ourselves. Sundru. Effort, where we're willing to put in the effort. And then the last one, the result of all of this effort is Xinjiang, which is a type of good feeling, but the word we use is pliancy, which is a weird word in English, but your mental and physical pliancy, like your body and mind just feel good. Your mind is healthy, your body is healthy. When you sit down for meditation, you're ready to go. And those are the 4 main things. And we're over time, so I'll just leave it there. So we'll talk about next time a way to think about these 4 solutions. These are just solutions to get your sorry ass on the meditation cushion, okay? This is just 4 ways to get you to sit down on that cushion instead of walking by it. Because if you know what the benefits are, right? And then you're just denying yourself the benefits by stepping over that cushion every day because you have something more important to do. That something more important is just going to end. So just sit down for 5 minutes. But these 4 will should get you onto the cushion. Should. Now that's a very interesting question, because how often am I not on the cushion? Well, it comes and goes. And if you're an honest meditator, it will come and go. You'll have time when you're meditating all the time, and then the seeds will wear out, and then you'll just look at that thing and hate it. Even though when you sit down, it'll be better for you. Same with yoga. Like when you actually do it, you feel better. But somehow the resistance shows up, and we'll talk about that. Like, what are those resistances and why? And part of it is we think there's something better. And that something better, frankly, will just end anyway. That something better, those relationships, that money, all those other things that you're striving for are just equally as samsaric. Doesn't mean we shouldn't live a happy life. It doesn't mean we don't need money. It's not about that stuff. But you can't take it with you. You can take the seeds from meditation with you. And we'll talk about it. Cool. Happy Wednesday. Thank you all for joining. Thank you too for coming to class. And we'll see you next week. Same bat channel, same bat time. For those of you that watch that show. All right. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you. And let's say goodbye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
teacher.
you. Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Dankeschön.
Hope, teacher.
Bye-bye.
谢谢老师，谢谢翻译。
Thank you, Tim.